Parikshit Maharaj hearing Bhagavatam in Parampara. From whom? Shukadeva Goswami. He learned it from whom? His father, Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva learned it from whom? Narada Muni. Narada Muni got it from Brahma. And Brahmaji got it directly from Krishna. So when we say that we need a connection with Krishna, you don't need to go to Krishna. You go to Krishna in Parampara. That is the importance of Parampara. Second paragraph. If we hear the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from liberated persons, this hearing will certainly free us from the bondage of material activities. But hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam spoken by a professional reciter cannot actually help us achieve liberation. Krishna Katha is very simple. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As he himself explains, Mattaha parataram nanyad kinchidasti dhananjaya. Oh Arjun, there is no truth superior to me. 7.7 Bhagavad Gita. Simply by understanding this fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become a liberated person. But especially in this age, because people are interested in hearing Bhagavad Gita from unscrupulous persons who depart from the simple presentation of Bhagavad Gita and distort it for their personal satisfaction, they fail to derive the real benefit. There are big scholars, politicians, philosophers, and scientists who speak on Bhagavad Gita in their own polluted way, and people in general hear from them, being uninterested in hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from a devotee. A devotee is one who has no other motive for reciting Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam than to serve the Lord. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu has therefore advised us to hear the glories of the Lord from a realized person. Bhagavata pado, giya bhagavata sthane. Unless one is personally a realized soul in the science of Krishna consciousness, a neophyte should not approach him to hear about the Lord, for this is strictly forbidden by Srila Sanatana Goswami, who quotes from the Padma Puran. Avaishnav mukho dhirnam putam Hare Kṛṣṇa Shravanam naiva kartavyam tatpochishtam yatapayaha. One should avoid hearing from a person not situated in Vaishnava behavior. A Vaishnava is nivritta trishna, that is, he has no material purpose. For his only purpose is to preach Krishna consciousness. I will briefly stop here and go back just to go from the beginning of the second paragraph. I really like sometimes how Prabhupada keeps things very simple. Here he's saying, Krishna Katha is very simple. Anybody has an experience that actually Krishna consciousness is very simple? It is simple and at the same time complicated also. For those who are on your video, I can see that your faces are, it's not that simple. The first couple, among the first couples in the Hare Kṛṣṇa movement, was Shyamananda Prabhu and his wife, Her Grace Malati Mataji. And to them was born one of the first children in the ISKCON society, Saraswati. Saraswati was a tiny baby, and Srila Prabhupada was very fond of her. And as babies, not exactly baby, but a small toddler, she would be eating constantly. And Prabhupada once said, Saraswati, you eat like, and people are saying, what does Prabhupada say? What analogy is he giving? He says, you eat like those big New York garbage trucks. They are simply putting so many things in them. Now, we got those same trucks here in Mumbai, but they are a bit tiny compared to what we see in New York, huge ones. And, you know, they bring things and it just goes on compacting. So, one day Prabhupada told her that we will put a stamp on your forehead and we will send you to Australia. And she started crying. I don't want to go to Australia. She was thinking that actually just like you put a stamp on an envelope and the envelope goes. So Prabhupada said, we'll put a stamp on your forehead and then we'll be sending you to Australia. Giriraj Maharaj says that Saraswati, when she became a bit older, Prabhupada had given her a Krishna doll. Okay? And one day, Prabhupada took that doll from her and kind of hid behind his back. So she started looking here and there. She thought that the doll must be here somewhere, So the devotee said, Saraswati, where is Krishna? And she looked here and there. She didn't answer. Saraswati, who has Krishna? And she said, Prabhupada. So Giriraj Maharaj said, it was so profound that the devotees were thinking it in this way, Prabhupada has Krishna. We don't have Krishna in the Bhagavatam we read or in the temples we go, especially our typical Indian temple going experience when we are not in touch with pure devotional service. We go as a duty, we go and beg something, oh God, give me this, give me that. There is no relationship. So the first and foremost thing that Prabhupada wanted was, as a worshipper, as a chanter, there has to be some sambandha gyan. So Giriraj Maharaj never tired of telling the story, how when we asked, Saraswati, who has Krishna? And she said, Prabhupada has Krishna. So never make this mistake that anybody outside the parampara, Krishna will allow himself to be exposed to you without the parampara backing. That's not possible. We have to go to Guru. We have to serve Guru in parampara. In fact, we have to serve Prabhupada. We distribute his books. I feel so overjoyed when I see Shubhilas Govind Prabhu's pictures standing in front of Patel brothers and other devotees having Rath Yatras and distribution of books. So we serve Prabhupada. How? By serving Prabhupada's followers. That will never go away. So the last story in this regard is Srila Prabhupada was sitting in the courtyard in Krishna Balram temple, and some friendly but very scholarly Rigvedi Brahmanas had come. And the discussion came as to, is it so simple that one can chant Hare Krishna, go to the temple, bow down, hear Krishna Katha and become fully Krishna conscious? Is it so easy? There are Gita verses which say that Manushyanam Sahasreshu, out of thousands, hardly one may know me. And those who try to know me, thousands among them, can one actually get realized knowledge. So, it is not that easy. So Prabhupada said, well, Krishna is complicated, Krishna is simple, Krishna is easy, Krishna is very difficult. But it is not so for his devotee. Vedeshu durlabham, adurlabham atma bhaktau. And to make a point, Prabhupada called two Gurukuli boys, and just so happened that a disciple brought some Maha sweets, Rasgulla. And Prabhupada opened that box, called those boys, and now the boys looked at Prabhupada, looked at the Rasgulla, and Prabhupada said, who is Krishna? And the boys immediately understood, if I give the right answer, one big Rasgulla is coming my way. So one boy said, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he looked at the Rasgulla and Prabhupada gave him. The second boy, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada gave him the second Rasgulla. And Prabhupada didn't say a word. The boys went and he looked at the scholarly Pandits, and they understood what this meant. They said, are you trying to tell us that even the small kids understand who Krishna is and we don't? So one Pandit said, but Swamiji, it is not so easy to understand Krishna fully. That is our point. And Prabhupada forcibly said, Krishna doesn't understand himself fully. What to speak of some scholars? Even Krishna doesn't understand himself fully. Krishna doesn't understand the glories of his service. That's why he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to taste the glories of his service. Of course, those devotees who were watching that could understand that many times your big scholarship may actually become an obstacle. It's possible. Now, at least for you and me, that's not a problem, right? None of us are great scholars, but we can get the pride of great scholars. That's a problem. So, Prabhupada is saying, yeah, Krishna Katha is very simple. But here, one of the diseases is people are interested in hearing Gita and Bhagavat from people who depart from the simple presentation of Gita and distort it for their personal satisfaction. There is a social media platform called Quora.com. I write answers to many questions there. There are many devotees and there are people who also like. And at the same time, there are so many people, whenever the question is asked, which Gita should I read? You know what is the unifying answer for many? Don't touch the ISKCON one. Don't touch the ISKCON Gita. Why? Because they have an agenda. The ISKCON Gita has Prabhupada's personal agenda. And what is that agenda? Oh, he wants to make people into Krishna devotees. Now, I have not answered any of those acidic questions yet, but I was thinking, isn't this what Krishna wants? That people should become my devotee? Krishna has ordered, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto. What does it mean? But friends, if you go and check out these other Gitas, even for this simple instruction like Arjun, become my devotee, Manmana Bhava, keep your mind always in me, become my devotee, even that is not followed. And then they accuse Prabhupada of having a personal agenda. There is a story by Prabhupada about that also. A man went to steal something, and the house from which he was stealing, the owner got up. And the owner started saying, thief, 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 chor, chor, chor. And hearing that commotion, 6, 7 other houses, their drawing rooms, lights lit up. And 20, 30 people came. And the owner said, I saw him running this way. Now what whappened was, the thief also joined the mob and started shouting, thief, 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 thief. He's the one who actually came to steal. But in order to save his skin, he's saying thief, thief, thief. Actually, hey, you are the thief. So people who say, hey, Prabhupada has a personal agenda, Prabhupada has a personal agenda. I feel, hey, maybe you have a personal agenda, therefore you are objecting to Prabhupada saying everybody should become Krishna's devotee. But the general understanding is there is a big opposition to becoming Krishna's devotee. We have to understand that. So those who have come so far, we have to protect our tender devotional people. We will talk about that later. So, yeah. So-called philosophers, scholars, philosophers, and politicians exploit the importance of Bhagavad Gita by distorting its meaning for their own purposes. Therefore, this verse warns that Krishna Katha should be recited by a person who is Nivritta Trishna. Nivritta means retired from, Krishna means thirst. So retired from materialistic activities. Shukdev Goswami epitomizes the proper reciter for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and Parikshit Maharaj, who purposefully left his kingdom and family prior to meeting death, epitomizes the person fit to hear it. A qualified reciter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives the right medicine for the conditioned souls, bhavav shadhi. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore trying to train qualified preachers to recite Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad Gita throughout the entire world, so that people in general in all parts of the world may take advantage of this movement and thus be relieved of the threefold miseries of material existence. So we need to be qualified preachers. How do we do that? Prabhupada said the formula is simple. You read 2 lines, you repeat 2 lines. And especially when you distribute books, that is a sure shot way that you are giving people the benefit. I go out on Harinam almost daily, and we have a team of dedicated book distributors. So we always exchange notes. We say, what happens when somebody says no? What happens when somebody says, no, I don't want it? So that day we had a small formula. Every conditioned soul, point number 1, every conditioned soul deserves Prabhupada's books. That's why Prabhupada wrote them. These books are a gift of Srila Vyasadeva, right? It is Vyasadeva who compiled Bhagavatam. Prabhupada is in the parampara of Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva wants this knowledge to be given. Prabhupada gave this knowledge in English. Who are you and me to decide whether this person is fit or unfit? Do we consider ourselves fit for this knowledge? No, we somehow got it. Second sutra we came across was this, that every person has a typical quota of how many times he will say no to Prabhupada's books. Now this is a guesswork. Don't ask me a formula for that. So if somebody has the quota of 17 times, he's saying, no, I don't need transcendental knowledge. I don't want to become Krishna conscious. So when you ask him and you touch his body with the book, you give him the book in his hand or her hand, and they say no, you know what has happened? You have decreased the number by 1. Now there are only 16 times that he can say no. Let us say he comes to Patel Brothers once in a week, once in a fortnight. So when the quota of 17 goes down to 0, so many times touching Prabhupada's books, now the Sukriti account is ready to explode. And then a person will buy. Otherwise, you tell me, 2 days ago, somebody took a small book. In India, a small book is only 10 rupees. Now 10 rupees is how many cents? 80 rupees is $1. So it's like less than 10 cents. Less than 10 cents. Just see. And he gave 100 rupees in exchange, saying that keep the change. So someone takes 10 rupee book and gives 100 rupees. In fact, one book distributor, while we were chanting, he said, Prabhu, something happened that I was always expecting it, but never happened in the last 5 years. I said, what happened? He said, one person took a set worth 200 rupees and he said, can I give something extra? And he said, well, if you want. So he had a 500 rupee note. He said, okay, keep it. So our job is not to count how many books sold, but how many innocent living entities we have kind of approached. That's it. Our job is to approach. We don't need to think about anything that is happening, except that enthusiastically we go every day. Our enthusiasm and patience has to be 10 out of 10 every day, no matter what happens. We move on to the next. Anybody wants to add anything or ask a question? We have just 2 minutes before we move on to the next paragraph.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, as you mentioned the quote, I really like that point. And we had like many experiences of those. Like first time they said no while they were entering into the store, but later sometimes the quota must be like two. The first time they said no, but they were getting out from the exit door after doing their grocery shopping, and then they happened to take books.
Exactly.
Yeah. And one person we felt that if we give prasadam, like that reduces, like a bomb, like a spiritual time bomb. That reduces quota by like 10, 15, instances gone in one shot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. Very nice points, Prabhu.
Next paragraph. The instructions of the Bhagavad Gita and description of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam are so pleasing that almost anyone suffering from the threefold miseries of material existence will desire to hear the glories of the Lord from these books and thus benefit on the path of liberation. Two classes of men, however, will never be interested in hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Those who are determined to commit suicide and those determined to kill cows and other animals for the satisfaction of their tongues. Although such persons may make a show of hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam at a Bhagavat Saptaha, this is but another creation of the karmis who cannot derive any benefit from such a performance. The word Pashu Gnat is important in this connection. Pashu, animal, Pashu Gna means butcher. Persons fond of performing ritualistic ceremonies for elevation to the higher planetary systems must offer sacrifices or yagyas by killing animals. Lord Buddhadev therefore rejected the authority of the Vedas because his mission was to stop animal sacrifices, which are recommended in Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Nindasi yagya vidher ahaha shruti jatam sadaya ridaya darshita pashughatam keshavadrita buddha sharira jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare. Gita Govinda. Even though animal sacrifices are sanctioned in Vedic ceremonies, men who kill animals for such ceremonies are considered butchers. Butchers cannot be interested in Krishna consciousness, for they are already materially allured. Their only interest lies in developing comforts for the temporary body. Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya paritachetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadho na vidiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination of devotional service to Supreme Lord does not take place. Gita 2.44. Srila Nityaṁ Das Thakur says, Manushya janama paya Radha Krishna nabhajiya Janiya shuniya visha khainu. Anyone who is not Krishna conscious, so therefore does not engage in service of the Lord, is also Pashugna, for he is willingly drinking poison. Such a person cannot be interested in Krishna Katha because he still has a desire for material sense gratification. He is not Nivritta Krishna. As it is said, Traivargikaste Purusha Vimukha Hari Medasaha. Those interested in Trivarga, that is in Dharma, Artha, Kama, are religious for the sake of achieving a material position with which to gain better facilities for self gratification. Such persons are killing themselves by willingly keeping themselves in the cycle of birth and death. They cannot be interested in Krishna consciousness. We move further. For Krishna Katha or topics about Krishna consciousness, there must be a speaker and a hearer, both of whom can be interested in Krishna consciousness if they are no longer interested in material topics. One can actually see how this attitude automatically develops in persons who are Krishna conscious. Although the devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement are quite young men, they no longer read materialistic newspapers, magazines, and so on, for they are no longer interested in such topics. Nivritta Tarshai. They completely give up the bodily understanding of life. For topics concerning Uttama Shlok, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master speaks and the disciple hears with attention. Unless both of them are free from material desires, they cannot be interested in topics of Krishna consciousness. The spiritual master and disciple do not need to understand anything more than Krishna, because simply by understanding Krishna and talking about Krishna, one becomes a perfectly learned person. Yasmin vigyate sarvam evam vigyatam bhavati. Mundaka Upanishad 1.3. The Lord sits within everyone's heart, and by the grace of the Lord, the devotee receives instruction directly from the Lord himself, who says in Gita 15.15, Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto mattasmritirgyanam apohanam cha vedaishcha sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta kridveda videva chaham. I am situated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Veda. Krishna consciousness is so exalted that one who is perfectly situated in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the spiritual master is fully satisfied by reading Krishna Katha as found in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar Vedic literatures. Since merely talking about Krishna is so pleasing, we can simply imagine how pleasing it is to render service to Krishna. So, before we go to the last paragraph, we'll have some discussion over here. This is New Vrindavan, and they were celebrating Janmashtami, and Prabhupada was there. So, that time only the Krishna book was available. So, Prabhupada said, we'll fast. Now, fasting on Janmashtami till 12 o'clock at midnight, plus doing your seva. It's a bit of a challenge for everybody. Of course, I was happy that many of my teachers said that it is not a stricture, it is not a compulsion. Like if you're just grabbing your stomach and sitting in a corner and saying, oh my God, it's only 6 o'clock in the evening. Oh, it's only 7 o'clock. My God, 5 more hours. Oh my God. Better to eat something and do seva. Even if it is as simple as giving charanamrit or prasad or passing books or whatever. But this is New Vrindavan. And about 11 o'clock, Prabhupada said, let us read Krishna book. So when devotees started reading chapter 1, the advent of Lord Krishna. And 11:40, 11:45, there were sannyasis with big dandas. And some of the people could see that the danda started slowly swaying left to right. And suddenly the danda would be made straight. Some devotees at the back of the room just went out and crashed. At 11:50, the first chapter reading ended. And Prabhupada's eyes lit up. And he said, next chapter. And he started reading the second chapter. At around 12:40, the way Radhanath Maharaj described is almost all the dandas were horizontal now. And people could barely keep themselves awake. At 12:45, the second chapter ended, and Prabhupada excitedly said, next chapter. And they could see that Prabhupada had such joy. Around 1:10 or something, Prabhupada looked at the scene in front of him and said, looks like people are tired, so we can take rest. So, few occasions that Prabhupada, not directly, not in a deliberate way, but others could perceive what it means to love Krishna, what it means to be pure, what it means to be Krishna conscious. Then why do we fast? Like one college boy told me, it is Krishna's birthday and I should fast. He should fast. He should feed me. jokes apart, anyone knows here why we fast? It's Krishna's birthday and he appeared at 12 o'clock. So we say, okay, I can't eat till he appears. So he appears at 12, therefore we fast till 12. But why do we fast? Don't worry, there are no wrong answers.
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. So we fast to come closer to Krishna, not like eating that will make us engage with all sense gratification. But if we fast, we can only think about Krishna, and the whole day will keep our mind engaged in his lotus feet.
Very correct. The only problem is if you think of hunger, then then it is not becoming Krishna conscious, they are becoming hunger conscious. But our acharyas, Thakur Bhaktivinoda has sung Madhavati Tithi Bhakati Janani. He says Madhav Tithi. Now Madhav Tithi means a Tithi, a day connected with Lord Madhava. It is Ekadashi, Janmashtami, Gaur Purnima, Radhashtami, all these big festivals. Bhakati Janani. These are the days in which my devotion is born. They are the mother of my devotion. So we are not tapasvis that we fast unto death just to gain knowledge. No, who cares for knowledge? We don't fast for getting punya or to getting rid of some pap. Oh, I have some skin disease. If I fast, my skin will glow like anything. No. Oh, I'll get this new job. Or I will get a new car. Or no. We just want to tell Krishna that my Guru has told me if I fast, I will love you more. Enough. That's enough. In fact, if you read Lilamrit, Prabhupada has told the devotee in the first Janmashtami, there is fruit in the refrigerator. Anyone feels hungry, please go and eat. There's a story of a brahmachari sitting with his eyes closed and head leaning over and clasping his stomach. And Bhakti-Sar Thakur said, hey, what's the matter? He said, they told me to fast. He said, so? But I'm so weak. He said, eat and do some preaching. We are not a fasting mission. We are not a fasting mission. We are not here to show our prowess in fasting. And one simple psychological tool, it was revealed to me by one devotee. I'm really grateful to him. He said that the Saptami, that is one day before Janmashtami, tell yourself, my dear mind, this is my plan for tomorrow. If hungry before 12 o'clock, I will take some milk. If hungry at 4 o'clock, I'll take some fruit. If hungry at 10 o'clock, I'll eat some more fruit. You don't worry. You don't need to taunt me that, hey, such a big faster, you haven't fasted a day in your life and you're weak and your doctor says this will happen, that will happen. He said, don't worry. I'm not going to. Just like Haridas Thakur, how he told the prostitute, oh, you are eager to see me? I am more eager to see your beauty. There's only one problem. My rounds are left. I will chant my rounds and I will immediately be your servant. Whatever you say, I will do that. 3 days, 3 nights, she heard him. She became a pure devotee. So Kali Yuga is not the day where you take out a sword, put on your armor and sit on a horse and tell Kali that, here I come. I'm about to destroy you. That never happens. So make a sankalpa for service. Make a schedule for a whole day's service. That will make it very easy to go through the day. All right. So we go on to the next paragraph. When discourses of Krishna Katha on Krishna Katha take place between a liberated spiritual master and a disciple, others also sometimes take advantage of hearing these topics and also benefit. These topics are the medicine to stop the repetition of birth and death. The cycle of repeated birth and death by which one takes on different bodies again and again is called bhava or bhavaroga. If anyone willingly or unwillingly hears Krishna Katha, his bhavaroga, the disease of birth and death will certainly stop. Therefore, Krishna Katha is called bhavaushadha, the remedy to stop the repetition of birth and death. Karmis or persons attached to material sense and enjoyment generally cannot give up their material desires. But Krishna Katha is such a potent medicine that if one is induced to hear Krishna Katha, he will certainly be freed from this disease. Practical example is Dhruva Maharaj, who at the end of his tapasya was fully satisfied. When the Lord wanted to give Dhruva a benediction, Dhruva refused it. Swamin Krithartho Asmi Varam na yache. My dear Lord, he said, I am fully satisfied. I do not ask for any benediction for material sense gratification. We actually see that even young boys and girls in the Krishna consciousness movement have given up their long practice of bad habits like illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. Because Krishna consciousness is so potent that it gives them full satisfaction, they are no longer interested in material sense gratification. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Mahapuran ki jai. So we have some time for some reflections or questions, comments, if any. Please unmute yourself and speak.
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji. Sorry,
Hare Kṛṣṇa,
if I may start. One thing which in the beginning of the class, you just said like listening is the first and foremost thing. That really struck me, Prabhuji. And also you said like listening is the most important thing out of any service that we do. I that really struck me with that, and then I paid more attention than regularly through this through your lecture, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for saying that. And also you said lastly you said about the fasting thing. I always have a question in mind that why do we have to fast? You know, it's an important day of Krishna, that you know he has been born. We should celebrate it. And anyway, as you rightly said, like you know, we are giving him a devotion, right spirit by remembering him always. And it's okay to have something, not to make yourself trouble and forget him. Thank you, Prabhu. Those are the couple of things which I gained through the class, Prabhu. Thank you so much for sharing those.
Welcome. Yeah, just speak. Whoever has raised their hand can speak.
Yeah, Śrīdama Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for your wonderful association and guidance. My question is that how do we consistently and constantly advance in this Krishna consciousness path? Because many times we, as you rightly said, we get very enthusiastic about doing certain things, and later on we kind of roll back a little bit. So how do we consistently progress?
Very good question. This happens in the life of everybody. Nobody has like a rocket which just goes straight into the space and that's it. For example, even like you from Florida, so you fire so many rockets from Cape Canaveral, right? And you have Elon Musk and his SpaceX program. So normally they show only those rockets which made it. You can also check on how many failed. there are so many failed missions also. So Krishna assures that there is no failure or loss in Krishna Bhakti. In computer language, if your file has been downloaded up to 13%, that 13% remains intact. Nothing material can remove that. Of course, we don't want to remain stagnant at 13%, but we want to move ahead. And your question is, how do we do it regularly? The answer is, you have to be a little bit intelligent to understand who is more advanced than me. And guess what? The answer is almost everybody around you. Almost everybody around you is advanced in some subject or the other. So let us say you have problems with chanting your rounds in a regulated way. Find out which Prabhu or which Mataji does it properly. Serve them. Your challenge is to attend programs regularly. Find out who are those who attend regular programs. Your challenge is to donate regularly. Find out who are doing it regularly. So for your challenge to read Prabhupada's books every day, maybe even 15 minutes. And you say, oh, the day gone, I couldn't make it today. Krishna, please show me someone who's doing it regularly. That prayer will make Krishna send someone near you or through some online contact or whatever, and then serve that devotee. So the simplest way of seeing that our enthusiasm doesn't go slack is to find out those who are more advanced than you. In the Mahabharata, Yudhishthira Maharaj and Duryodhana were given a task to find out in Hastinapur. Yudhishthira Maharaj was told, find out who is lower than you. And Duryodhana was told to find out who is better than you. So both came in the evening and both had the same answer, none. Yudhishthira Maharaj could not find anybody lower than him. And Duryodhana could not find out anybody better than him. Why is that? Because Duryodhana was thinking, who can be better than me? I am better than everybody else. While Yudhishthira Maharaj was thinking, I am the lowest. And the story is there that Yudhishthira Maharaj found out somebody who was drawing water from a well. So he said, hey, it is Ekadashi. You should not be drinking water from the well. So I guess at that time, almost everybody was fasting for Ekadashi or whatever. So the man said, I know, and this water is for my horse. So that made Yudhishthira Maharaj say that, look how worst I am. I didn't even ask him, I judged him. So find out somebody who's doing better devotional service, even if he's one step ahead of you. Serve that Vaishnava or Vaishnavi, and you will also get the benefit. Is that okay?
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Next question, who has a hand raised? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanyavad pranam. Very nice class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, so I have two reflections from your today's class. First one is you said about hearing, and this hearing is very important because that will not only purify our ears, but it will purify our hearts too. And the second point it's really struck me about, you talked about the parampara, the Guru Shishya parampara. So rightly said Prabhuji that you said that hearing, so hear from a senior Vaishnava Shiksha Gurus who can guide us. As you said that it's not possible to know Krishna completely, but with their guidance, we can able to raise the bhakti, Krishna bhakti in our hearts, Prabhuji. So that's why parampara and who are following those paramparas, hearing from them is very important. That's what I heard, learned from your today's class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your reflections.
Krishna. Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Would you like to add any closing remarks, Shubhavilas Prabhu?
We are very, very fortunate to get your association again. I also had a question that this verse primarily talks about the standard of the speaker of Bhagavatam that is so high, right? Like completely free from material desires.
Yeah.
And so how do like a person like me who is nowhere close to that, and then we are doing this insignificant service of sharing Krishna consciousness, although I'm not qualified at all. So how do I take it and try to apply it?
So the example is of Bharat Maharaj in the Ramayana, that I am very, very dissatisfied that Lord Ram is not coming back, and I am his servant, so I should do what he says. So in the same way, Prabhupada said, if you know 2 lines, you preach 2 lines. So that is what you and me, we all do. And at the same time, Bharat Maharaj says, I cannot rule. I don't have the power. So at least give me your padukas, wooden sandals. They will rule. So the citizens would understand that whenever they would come with a question, he would go to the sandals, the wooden padukas, and ask them. And the solution which would come in his heart and which would work, he would say that this has come from Lord Ram's mercy. Similarly, when you give a class, when I give a class and somebody says, wow, that was really satisfying. What was satisfying? My Vani? Certainly not. Because if it was, it could have purified me before. But because the listener also has the super soul in their heart, and the super soul confirms this person is speaking in parampara. What he's saying is correct. Follow him. So in our case, when we say chant Hare Krishna attentively, that teaching is more for us. And if others get it, that is the added bonus. So we should know that I am speaking so that my tongue gets purified. I am the first beneficiary of this philosophy which I am giving. If you also get it, then it is my Guru's mercy. So these are some very powerful meditations which keep us on the path. We are realistic, we know that we are not advanced, but we are doing this seva for getting advancement. And we should not be surprised that somebody in our audience proves to be more advanced than us. In fact, we are praying that please send somebody who can take this place of mine. So let this community become even more better advanced. So our acharyas have given a lot of wisdom in why we are doing what we are doing.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. This is very helpful. Thank you. So I think it's.
Shall we stop here? Thank
yes,
you all for coming here.
So let's express our deepest gratitude to His Grace Shyamananda Prabhu for such nice Krishna Katha and walking us along, everyone, to the purport and
so this
helping.
group is your regular Bhagavatam study group, you said, or this is otherwise other group?
It's mixed. Most of the devotees join regularly.
I see.
Yes, but it's a mixed group, yes. So most of the cameras are off.
No, that's no issue because somebody could be traveling, somebody could be cooking.
So thank you so much. Let's express our deepest gratitude to His Grace Shyamananda Prabhu for such wonderful Krishna Katha by 3 times, loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you all very much. Wish you have a very blissful Janmashtami. Hare Krishna.
Happy
Thank
Janmashtami.
you, Prabhuji, and the
Krishna.
Shyamananda Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Pranam. Jai Shri Krishna.